What is going on, guys? It is Patrick here, and today I'm bringing you the history of Twitch Plays Pokemon Crystal. This is the Gen 2 update. A lot of people have been asking for this, and I just wanted to hold off to the end to get everything capulated. This was this was 2 games, but it actually ended up being about the same length as the first generation, so it should be probably 10-minute video, maybe longer, maybe shorter. Don't know for sure, but yeah. So guys, this is Twitch Plays Pokemon Crystal Gen 2. Let's get into it. Also, if you guys could leave a like, that would be most appreciated. Now, our game starts in New Barktown, where we name our character AJDNNW, or AJ Downey. Now, on our way there, because Totodile kept using Leer, he earned himself the nickname Lasergator. We traveled west to Cherry Grove and then up to Mr. Pokemon's house, where we acquired the Mystery Egg. We headed back to Cherry Grove, beat a rival, and gave him the nickname Silver. We are now ready to start our Pokemon quest in acquiring all 8 gym badges and becoming the Pokemon League champion. On our way to Violet City, we caught a Sentret named Addy and a Caterpie named Ox Oz. We sweeped Faulkner with our fast-growing Lasergator and then headed to fight Sage Lee, where we first lost and then on our second attempt won. At this time, Togepi also hatched. Traveling south, we caught a Wooper and then entered Union Cave. Not long after, we exited and arrived in Azalea Town. We swiftly defeated the Rockets and Slowpoke well, freeing them, and then fought our rival for the second time. After this, we entered Bugsy's gym, sweeped it with Lasergator again, and got our second badge, the Hive Badge. Our next goal was to travel through Ilex Forest, but there was a tree on our way. We also met a woodcutter who had lost a Farfetch'd. Many people were quick to assume that this was Dux from the previous generation, who had now found a suitable home. We returned him to his master, received Cut, and traveled through the Ilex Forest. Arriving in Goldenrod City, our first order of business was to defeat Whitney, but unfortunately she bested us with her OP Miltank. Soon after this we won, acquiring our 3rd gym badge. We then visited the old couple at the daycare, where we received the Odd Egg, and then shortly after released Addy. Now Lasergator finally evolved to Croconaw at level 29, which was 11 levels after his normal evolution state. Shortly after this, we got the Squirt Bottle, killed Sudowoodo, and arrived at Ecruteak City. We were on a hot streak. Sort of. We entered the Burn Tower and tried to fight our rival, but he bested us 3 times in a row. Now during the same time, the Odd Egg hatched into a Smoochum, which many people were disappointed in. We also received the free Eevee from Bill and caught a Coughing named Wee. Not long after this, Lasergator evolved into Feraligatr, and we finally beat our rival. It was now time to fight Morty. Now apart from being a fairly good gym leader, Morty had something else up his sleeve: the Elite Floor. It took very, very long to make it through this, as every time you made a wrong move, you were set back to the beginning. This was often compared to the equivalent of the Ledge from Gen 1. On our 3rd try, with the help of Democracy, we beat Marty and received our 4th gym badge. We were halfway there. We then traveled southwest to Olivine City, where we reached the top of the lighthouse and talked to Jasmine. She told us to go to Cianwood City and get the secret potion for the sick Ampharos in the lighthouse. We left the lighthouse, and there was then a significant push to reach the PC and release Lasergator. You see, people were getting tired of him. He was too good. People were saying he was making the game boring. For those of you who don't know, Lasergator, or Feraligatr, is a really, really powerful Pokemon in Gen 2. You see, you can basically go through the entire game using just him, and it's pretty easy to win. So at this point, people were starting to get pretty annoyed and attempted to release him. Now at this time, he actually didn't get released, but a Drowsy did, which was not very significant, but as you can see, people really did not like him. We then traversed the ocean to make it to Cianwood City. There was another push to deposit Lasergator, but all was well. We also fought Usine, the Suicune Fanatic, and got our 5th gym badge from the gym leader Chuck. We also received a level 15 Shuckle and then traveled back to Olivine City to give Jasmine the secret potion. The Amphi was well, and we were now ready to face Jasmine, the 6th gym leader of Johto. Now again, because Lasergator was considered to be too OP, there was another push to deposit him and release him, but this time they released Togepi. Not a significant Pokemon, but a devastating blow to the morale of the fan fiction. We then beat Jasmine and headed east to Mahogany Town, and then up to the Lake of Rage, where we defeated the Red Gyarados. We met a man named Lance who told him to meet us in Mahogany Town's store. We traveled back to Mahogany Town and entered the store to witness Lance destroy one of the Team Rocket members with his Dragonite's Hyper Beam. He then uncovered the stairs to the Rocket's secret hideout and stopped them from transmitting radio signals to the Pokemon. Due to Team Rocket having poor Pokemon, we made it through the Rocket hideout with much ease and turned off the generators that were powered by the electrodes. Team Rocket was gone, for now. With the entrance to Price's gym now opened, we are now able to enter and earn our 7th gym badge. He was quite easy, but most people said that the actual staircase or the slipping areas to get to him was a lot harder than the actual fight. Nonetheless, we beat him and exited the gym. Now, shortly after, we got a call from Professor Elm saying that funny things were going on at the radio tower in Goldenrod. We then went to Goldenrod to investigate. It was Team Rocket. They had taken over the radio tower and were using the signal to make Pokemon evolve, just like they were at their old hideout, only this time on a much larger scale. We scaled the tower and made it to what we thought was the radio director, who was actually the real person in control of the radio tower, but in fact it was a Rocket executive. He then told us that the director was hidden in the underground basement and we head out to find him. Shortly after entering the Goldenrod basement, we were faced with another rival battle. This time things went easier and we beat him in our first try. Now, we had a little bit of trouble with the switches of the tunnels, but we eventually did make it through and rescued the director. He gave us the card key and gave us the access to the very top floor of the Goldenrod Tower, where the true executive was hiding. We made it up to the top and beat him. Now, in rewards for doing such a good deed, we were given the Clear Bell, which granted us access to Suicune. We didn't go back to that just yet, because now we were faced with the Ice Cave. Although people compared Morty's gym to the Ledge, the Ice Cave proved to be much more of a challenge, and it actually took a total of 16 hours to make it through. Now, during this time, we got some TMs, and Eevee evolved into Espeon, which was really, really lucky, as well as pretty freaking awesome. Because of the ledges in Blackthorn City that once you go down them, you have to go all the way around Johto to get back to it, we went straight to fight Claire. On our first try, we lost, but we then beat her using Icy Wind and Feraligatr. We acquired our 8th gym badge and were now ready to face the Pokemon League Championships. But before that, Claire had one more thing in store. She made us go to the Dragon's Den, where we had to answer some really BS questions about Pokemon and love, and we were actually given a Dratini. We named it KT. We then traveled back to New Barktown, where we acquired the Master Ball and said goodbye to our mom. We were off to the Pokemon League Championships. Now, in Tojo Falls, shortly after arriving in Kanto, we used our Master Ball on a Goldeen. Much less significant than when we used it on the Zapdos of the previous generation, but whatever. It was gone, we couldn't worry about it. Now, the road between New Barktown and the Elite Four was very difficult. We did catch quite a few new Pokemon, of significant ones in Raticate named Ace, and a Onix, which later evolved into a Steelix and earned the name Solid Snake. But we actually wiped out a total of 3 times before we could make it to the Elite Four. Now, once we got there, unfortunately, we teleported right back to New Barktown using the guy's Abra. Fortunately for us, our Pidgeotto named Brian knew Fly, and we were able to go back quite quickly. At this point, we started fighting the Elite Four. Now, also during some time, this is when our Onix evolved into a Steelix, and other Pokemon got trained quite well. In total, despite us saying that Laser Gator was too good, the Elite Four took 37 tries to win. But on that 38th, we defeated Lance and were now Pokemon champions. We had won. But wait. We hadn't won. We still had an entire section of the game to play. We were off to Kanto to face an old friend. Now, although we lost to the Elite Four many times, our team had become very trained because of this, and we were quite powerful. Unfortunately, Kanto was quite easy, and we really just did an entire sweep through the entire place. A lot of people complained that this was boring, but I figured that it was better than having no Kanto at all. So in order, we defeated Lieutenant Surge, then lost to Sabrina, then defeated Sabrina, then defeated Erica, and finally, as everybody was so wanting for some reason, we beat Misty. Now at this point, KT reached level 55 and finally evolved into Dragonite. That was one of the few significant portions of Kanto. We then beat Janine and headed to Palatown to see some familiar faces. We visited Professor Oak and then headed south to Cinnabar Island, only to realize that it had actually been destroyed by a volcanic eruption. There was only 2 people there. One was Nurse Joy of the Pokemon Center, and the other was Blue. He had come to Cinnabar Island to see the destruction caused by the volcano. Like a quote straight out of The Catcher in the Rye, he said he wasn't too much in the mood to fight, but if we came back to his gym in Viridian, he'd be down. We then headed east to Cinnabar Cave where we fought Blaine. We didn't have Burn Heal, but we beat him quite quickly, and we're now ready to face Blue, the 16th gym leader. We traveled back to Viridian City and entered the Lago-constructed gym. We faced the former Pokemon League champion and won our 16th gym badge. We now had one person standing in our way of ultimate victory. Red. With Solid Snake the Steelix, Brian the Pidgeot, Burrito the Espeon, Ace the Raticate, KT the Dragonite, and Laser Gator himself the Feraligatr, the team set off to Mount Silver to defeat Red. Now there was a lot of speculation as to what Red's team would be, whether it would be the original team from Pokemon Crystal or the TheSmithPlays Pokemon equivalent. We quickly found out after getting it served to us by the Zapdos that it was, in fact, the TheSmithPlays Pokemon equivalent. We lost 6 times in a row, but on our 7th time we were feeling lucky. AJ Downey, a little boy from New Barktown, faced Red, a boy who had escaped the voices and found silence in the cave of Mount Silver, a boy who would become the champion, with the team of Amistar the Helix, Fawns the Nidoking, Air the Lapras, Bird Jesus the Pidgeot, and ATV the Dragon Killer. AJ Downey challenged Red. Solid Snake the Steelix defeated the level 81 Anarchy Jesus, but then Lapras destroyed Steelix. Lapras then also took out Burrito the Espeon, but was shortly dealt to by Katie. Red then sent out Nidoking the Fawns and defeated Katie. That was okay though, because we sent out our secret weapon, Laser Gator. He swiftly dealt with the Fawns, then ATV, then the Helix himself. It was one Pokemon left. The Pokemon who had carried it all the way through of TheSmithPlays Pokemon the original. Bird Jesus himself. It was an epic battle. Bird Jesus had a sliver of health, but then took Laser Gator down to 57 with a Sky Attack. Laser Gator then used Cut but missed, but then used a Surf to take down the legend himself, the Prophet. Bird Jesus was defeated, Red had lost, and AJ Downey was the new official champion. And thus concludes the story of TheSmithPlays Pokemon Crystal, Gen 2. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you could leave a like, that would be great. This was amazing. This was a really special thing for me, seeing us beat the second and personally my first Pokemon game ever. Really hope you enjoyed this video. We moved to Emerald quite soon, which should be interesting. I'm nervous to see if the views will go down as we get into less popular Pokemon of the generation that is watching this. But either way, guys, I really, really do look forward to it no matter what happens. And like I said, I will continue to do these, but I prefer to do just the whole video because it seems easier for you guys. So that's my time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.